Hello there, my name is Otter. I've been creating Minecraft videos for a bit over a year now, and combined with decades of software industry experience, I've picked up a few tricks for the technical side of creating content, and I wanted to share that knowledge. In this video, I'm going to very quickly go through the basics of editing a video in DaVinci Resolve. It's really fast, it's really easy, I promise, don't be intimidated. Now, when you first launch DaVinci, it's going to bring you to this Project Manager screen. If you've already created a bunch of projects like I have, it's going to list them here. Otherwise, I think it has Untitled Project by default. In this case, we want to start a new project. So I'm going to go down here, click New Project, and I'm going to call it Cool Rock because that's the video clip that we're going to be editing. Hit Create, and here we go. Now that we're into DaVinci Resolve proper, the first thing to do is tell DaVinci where our files are. So to do that, we're going to go up to DaVinci Resolve, click that, and then click Preferences. From there, click on Media Storage. And I've already added a folder that has all of the music that I've downloaded from Epidemic Sound, but I also want to add my video folder. So I can click on Add, go to this folder. This is something you only have to do basically once. So now that we're back to the Media tab, I want to go up to here on the top left. I'm going to just find the folder that I want. Now I've got two files here. If I'm not sure which one I want, sometimes you can tell pretty easily just by clicking on it. You can see it brings up sort of the first frame of the video. If you're not sure which one it is, then what you can do is just hit the play button. Now that I've identified the clip that I want, I can just drag it down here. It asks if you want to change the project frame rate. If it does ask that for you, you probably want to say change. Now that we've got this here, we've told DaVinci, hey, this is a file that we care about for this project. So keep track of this. We're going to use this file elsewhere. And what we want to do now is select it and then right click and create new timeline using selected clips. You can call it what you want. I tend to just call mine main. So I hit create. And now it's got main selected. You can see it's got the check mark to say this is the one we're going to edit. Now the cut tab and the edit tab do very similar tasks, but they have kind of a different perspective on how to go about those tasks. Obviously, feel free to experiment with cut tab. Maybe it'll work better for you. But for me, I'm sticking with the edit tab. So now that we're in the edit tab, you can see we've got the usual sort of playback buttons, so we can see what we've done so far, which in this case is nothing. We can also scan through the footage by grabbing this red bar. It's called the playhead, and we can scan through. There's a whole lot that you can do in the edit tab. I'm not going to go through it in any real detail here. I want to focus on just sort of the key actions that are enough to do most videos, to be honest. And there's really only a handful of things that you kind of need to know. And you don't even need to know necessarily the keyboard shortcuts. It's just going to make life a little bit easier if you do. Or you can do what I do and have a mouse with programmable buttons and gestures that have the keyboard shortcuts for you. What are the things that we want to do? Now, to slice a clip, so just introduce a cut underneath this playhead, we can do Ctrl and backslash. And that'll just cut each of these clips right here. So the video clip and both of these audio clips that go along with it. So now that I've got my cut, I can select these clips and hit backspace. That'll delete those clips, but leave everything else exactly where it is. And sometimes that's exactly what you want to do. In this case, though, it's probably not what we want to do because we don't want to leave like 12 seconds of black screen and dead air at the start of our video. So we can instead highlight them and hit delete. And what that's going to do is, again, delete those clips, but this time anything that's to the right of that gets pulled back over to fill in the empty space. And it can be weird if you've got your cuts on different tracks at different points, but you can play with that and learn that yourself. Another option, instead of actually doing the cut right here, I can use my keyboard shortcut, Ctrl Shift open square bracket, and that says from the playhead, you basically introduce a slice and delete back to the start of the current clip. Oh, there is a matching one, by the way. Ctrl Shift and close square bracket will trim from the playhead to the end of the current clip. Okay, so now I've got my kind of cut up video, and I believe between probably this clip and this clip, we're going to have an ugly jump. Let's just quickly scan through. Yeah, I don't like that jump. Now, there's a few things we can do to fix this. One of the advantages of doing Minecraft or other gaming related videos is that most of the time you don't have a mouth to sync up the speech to. So you can pretty easily kind of desynchronize the video from the audio. What I can do is bring the cursor to the border between the clips. And you see this icon? I click and drag, it'll let me go to the start of the previous clip. And that is probably good enough. Not really, I don't like it. And I think what I'm going to do is the slightly more aggressive thing. So if we go like this, it'll let us go to sort of the end of either of these clips. But if we go over a bit to the right, it says, hey, take this clip that's on the right, and I can drag that wherever I want, including over all of the previous clips. And I think for this one, that's reasonable. So going back to the tabs on the bottom, the next one is Fusion, and that's for special effects and motion graphics and stuff like that. We don't need any of that in this video, so I'm going to ignore it. I am planning on covering at least the basics of it in future videos, but in the meantime, Daniel Batal and Casey Ferris both have channels that cover these things. Casey Ferris really specializes in the Fusion tab. Daniel Batal kind of does more of like a very beginner version of it. I love both their videos. They're really good channels. I highly recommend them. Of course, I'm going to leave links. The next one that we might want to look at is color. Again, Daniel Batal has at least a couple of really good videos talking about the color page, and I think that Casey Ferris has a few as well. I think he's covered basically all of DaVinci Resolve, but he mostly focuses on the Fusion tab. The only time I really get into the color tab for most of my videos is if there's something that's really dark. For example, on my main channel, I had a video recently where we ended up going and investigating the Pale Garden for the first time. It was really fun, but of course you're investigating it at night. It's kind of dark at night, so the footage was just really dark. It was not going to be very useful for anybody. So then I came into the color tab and I applied some color correction and some tweaks and some other fixes so that I could bring the light levels up to a point where it still looked like I had been recording in nighttime, but you could actually see what was happening, which is kind of important for a video. But in this case, we don't need to touch it. So again, moving on. Fairlight is about fixing the audio, and you might think I'm about to jump over this one as well. I'm not, because this is the one thing that I find a lot of Minecraft content creators, specifically the smaller creators, often don't handle well is the audio levels. And they'll end up with stuff that's just way too loud, so you feel like you need to turn the volume down, or they're just quiet and you can't really hear anything. So then you have to turn the volume way up. It's even worse because when your video ends and the next thing comes on, now they've got the volume turned way up louder than where it should be. So now it's blaring out a bunch of noise at them and gives them a jump scare. Nobody likes that. Well, I don't know. Some people do, I guess. Those people are weird. I am not one of them. So we are going to spend a minute in this tab. And there's really two numbers that we're going to look at in here. Well, sort of three. We're looking at these over here, short and short max. And we're going to look at TP, which I believe is true peak. It is the peak volume. Now, to get the correct numbers here, very important, go to absolute scale and select that. And then just to make your life easier, click lock metering to transport. I'm going to scan back to the beginning and hit play. And these numbers are going to give me an indication of how loud my video is. short and short max will sort of give me an average rating across a bit of time. And what you're aiming for is below -14. So really anywhere from -14 to about -20. So I find 16 to 20 is a good range. If I get below 20, it starts to be just a little bit too quiet. And there's, of course, moments that are going to be below 20, and that's fine. But it's sort of looking at the average. If the average for a little segment is below 20, and it's not supposed to be a very quiet segment, then I probably want to do some work to bring that up a bit. And if it's above -14, definitely want to bring it down. And this number up here, the peak value, it's sort of the measurement of like an instantaneous value. So like for me, often when I say I, for some reason, that spikes the volume really high. And it probably just spiked when I said spiked right there. And it just, that instant of saying it just got too loud. And what's going to happen is YouTube is going to detect that and say, oh, this spikes up way too loud. I need to compress down the audio. Something I didn't mention on the edit tab, but I will mention here because it's the same control either place. If you hold down Alt and use your scroll wheel, it expands or shrinks the timescale. So by expanding this out, I've got more room to see what's happening. I happen to know in my case that I've got all of the microphone audio recorded to audio channel 1. I don't care about audio channel 2 for this video. That's just the Minecraft gameplay. Other videos, I do care about it, but today I don't have to. And yes, I am going to have a video later showing how I set up OBS so that I can have my microphone audio recorded on one channel and the game audio recorded on another. Now for today, I'm just going to quickly scan through and just watch the numbers and see what happens. Okay, now that we've done that, we've got a reading. The peak value is -9.7. And the short, yeah, it was hovering -25 to -30. That is way too quiet. If I upload this to YouTube the way that it's been playing on the speakers here, nobody's going to understand it unless they turn the volume way up, and then they're going to get jump scared, and it's a bad time. We're going to go and fix it the easy way, which is actually a really good way to fix it, conveniently. Audio 1 has my microphone audio, and that's the one that I need to adjust in this one. I'm going to go over here to the right, and I'm going to double click on this little graph in Dynamics. It brings up this extra little window. I'm going to go to Default and bring that down to Dialog Basic. This is sort of my default for everything. Now, I happen to know that for my setup, typically if I bring this up to about 9.5-ish, anywhere from 8.5 to 10, but typically right around 9 to 9.5 is going to be just about perfect. What I'm going to do, come back here and play through again and watch the numbers. Okay, so this time the peak value -2.1 and the short is ranging around -20-ish. I think I'm going to bring it up just a touch more. I think this is still just a hair on the quiet side. But when I do bring it up more, it's going to cause a problem. So apparently DaVinci does not gracefully handle when you have different zoom settings on different monitors, because I'm missing most of this window. Luckily, the thing that I really wanted to show you is still visible, which is this makeup setting. Makeup is basically whatever the volume level is of the audio, bring it up by this much. All right. We'll bring this back to the start and we'll play it. So right there, you can see that the peak value got too high. And I know from experience, this is where it is. The way to handle that peak, there's actually a couple options. If I could get the window to show up again, the Dynamics window has a limiter option. Another way to fix this, if it's just a couple things like this, is I can Alt-click on this line. This is the volume line. And I can Alt-click there to add a keyframe. And Alt-click there to add a keyframe. and also over there. Now what I'm going to do is click on this middle point and drag it down a little bit. And let's bring it down almost 5 decibels. So all this is doing is saying for this specific bit, basically, I just want you to make it quieter. So playing that through again. And you can see this time the peak is fine. Yeah, whether you make it a little bit louder from here is up to you. I think I'm probably just going to bump up the makeup a tiny bit more. Okay, so I just brought up the makeup value a little bit more. Now it's fine. This video has already gone on way too long. Sorry about that. But I really wanted to show off the audio stuff because, like I said, this is a thing that so many smaller creators don't handle well, and it causes them problems. So now we're over to the Deliver tab, and this is where we actually tell DaVinci Resolve to make the real final video for us. You might be tempted to click on the YouTube setting. I don't recommend it. I find it's just not very good. I don't know why. It's just, like I said, it's just not very good. I've got these settings. Are these great settings? I don't know. They work for me. I am not an expert on video codecs. So, which is funny because I actually did study video codecs in university. I took an entire course that, among other things, talked about how photos and videos are encoded. Very cool math, if you like that sort of thing. At any rate, I'm not going to get into that. What we want to do is give it a name. I'm going to call this one Cool Rock because I made a cool rock. And now I'm going to pick a location. So for me, this is my organization system. I'm not saying it's the best. In fact, I know it is not the best, but it works for me. And I'm going to, yeah, I just want to output it to here. I'm using, like I said, these settings. One thing to be aware of is if you do click over to YouTube or one of the other ones and then click back, these settings are going to be different. So by default, I'll show you. If I click on YouTube and then say, nah, I don't really want that, go back to custom, you can see it's gone from automatic best to restrict to 10,000 kilobits a second. I want to put it back to best. It's a Minecraft video. Does it need to be the best quality? No, but I do it anyway because I'm just like that. I'm going to hit add to render queue. It's giving you an opportunity to make sure you really want to render the video before you render it, which, yeah, I do want to render it. So now I'm going to click render all. I've got a pretty beefy computer, so it renders very quickly. And yeah, now we're done. This video has been created. I can upload it to YouTube and we can all enjoy it if we want. I don't know why somebody would enjoy a video of 7 blocks of stone. Listen, I was going for the most ridiculous build I could think of to have a stupid little video, okay? Just laugh at my silliness. Please laugh at my silliness. It amuses me. And that's about it for today. Take care. I'll see you in the next one. Hello. My name is Otter, and I built a rock, and it's an awesome rock, and you should admire it. Yes, I can do better than this. I'm making a silly video.